Hello students, welcome to Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Open University UG first year first semester for the demand analysis chapter. The law of demand we have discussed, in that the different types of demands we will try to learn from this. How many types of demands we have? So basically we have three types of demands: price demand, income demand, cross demand. So what is this price demand? Price demand refers to the various quantities of commodity or services that consumer would purchase at given a time in a market at various hypothetical prices. So this is clearly indicates that how a consumer is pricing or buying a products at a various prices at a various quantities, which will help us to understand the price demand analysis. Our income demand. So in the price demand, whenever change in the price, how it is impacts the demand. In the income demand refers to the various quantities of goods and services which would be purchased by the consumers at various levels of income. So whenever change in the income, at what level if it is changing the income, so that is the income demand which you talk about it. And there is an important is cross demand. Cross demand means the quantities of goods and services which will be purchased with reference to change in price not of this good. Please remember, the change in the price not of this good but of the other interrelated goods. What are those interrelated goods? The goods may be a complementary or a substitutes. What are the substitute goods? Substitute goods means like tea, coffee, right? Whenever the tea price increases, demand for coffee may increase. People may choose this as a complementary, as a substitutes to tea over coffee. Now coming to the complementary goods, like your right leg shoe and left leg shoe. So you both are complementary to each other, which will not work without the other. Or petrol and car. So you will not, whenever the petrol prices increases, demand for cars also may come down, because the maintenance of the car will be increased, because you have to buy at higher price of the petrol. So that is where the cross demand will help us to understand, though suppose a car price may not change, but due to the higher rates of petrol prices, people either may not buy, or they postpone the purchase of car, or they reduce less commodity because of the complementary goods prices. So that is where we need to understand the cross demand. So like for further examples, if you see the car tires and tubes also, right, these are the complementary. One cannot go without the other, right? Tea and coffee, which we already discussed, where you will not go with that. And another important is, in this, like we have discussed, three types of major price demand, income demand, cross elasticity demand. Within these, another important is price elasticity of demand. Elasticity, the term called elasticity, we need to understand. What are these elasticity means? Elastic means it is the only change. First let us understand about the elastic. Elasticity measures how much change in one price causing change in price of other commodity. So that is called as a elasticity. So the elasticity we try to measure. Here now, whenever change in the price, how much demand is changing, we can understand through this price elasticity of demand. So we know elastic, like if you take a rubber, it is elastic, like you can stretch it, right, and it will come down also. So in that way we have 5 types of price elasticity of demand, in that perfectly elastic. So that is, whenever, if you see graphically also, the quantity demand will not change irrespective of given a price, quantity demand will go. right. So, the you have perfectly elastic. So, it is changing whenever the price changes, demand also changes. It is like infinity change, even a small change can be very significant. That is where we call it as a perfectly elastic. So, any price changes, that means even 5 paisa price changes, demand either will highly grow or highly will fall. So, that is we call perfectly elastic, because the terms itself tells you the clear story. Perfectly inelastic demand. When you say perfectly inelastic, means it won't affect any demand, whether price may go up or down, it is fixed. The quantity demand is fixed. So, which will be moving within the quantity. How it will be? Like essential commodities, perfectly inelastic, like very essential life saving things, price may go up, but demand will not go up. So, that is where it is parallel to OY axis. Perfectly elastic demand curve will be to the OY axis, OX axis parallel to will be there, parallel to OX axis perfectly elastic. Perfectly inelastic will be OY axis, it is a parallel. Now, there is unitary elastic. What is that unitary elastic? How much changes in the price, same amount of quantity will be changed. The change in the price and the change in the demand will be equal, that you call as a unitary elastic. So, this will be there. Now, relatively elastic. So, that means this you will see that relatively elastic, it will respond to the prices, but relatively less. When we say perfectly elastic, means change is significant. Relatively elastic is there is may be change, but relatively elastic, it is not perfectly elastic. Like when we stretch it, it will not go. It may be some extent it will stretch, but will not go. So, similarly, the quantity of demanded, it will, you will see the change in the prices how it goes. Relatively inelastic also, the quantity demand is, though it will be inelastic, but it can change at a minor level. When price changes, your quantity of demand can change relatively. So, that is where these 5 types of elastics, the terminology which you remember, perfectly elastic means any change in the price, it will have significant impact on the demand. Perfectly inelastic means it will not be changing. Unitary elastic is the same change which are happening at a whatever change has happened in the price, equal amount of the quality, the demand is changing. And relative elastic is it does not change. I mean, the relatively, the with the response to the price, the relatively the change in the quantity demand also will change. Relatively inelastic, though it changes, but it will be very minor. So, these are the major 5 types of price elasticity of demand. Similarly, you will have income demand, cross elastic demand, all this also will have similar kind of elastics which can be discussed. So, in this particular part we have discussed 3 major types. One is a price, income, cross demand. Now, in that we have discussed about the price elasticity of demand. So, this would be helpful for pricing a product, pricing or imposing a tax, or whenever what kind of product we can increase the taxes or prices, we can understand based on it is elastic. So, students, please try to understand the concept, this elasticity. I repeat, the term called elasticity is simply change that represents a delta, okay, delta P by delta D. So, that is when how much change in price will lead to change in the demand, right. Thank you very much.